Hello, my name is Beverly Burris and I am a surreal artist in Houston, Texas. It's been a while since I've been on my YouTube channel. I started it a few months ago and now I'm able to do some more art. I'm getting ready for NerdCon in November. So today I am going to do a piece for NerdCon and I'm going to do it just in one session. There are no parts. So let's get started. I chose to get a 6x6 piece. So I have a lot of little canvases that I like to work with. This one's a 5x5. So today I'm going to work with a 6x6 and I have already prepared my paint that I wanted to use and I've already gotten some fresh water. So let me tell you about the colors that I chose today. We have just brilliant red. Sometimes I like to use vermilion but this will do for today because I can add a little bit of yellow. The yellow I have is lemon yellow. So that's just your basic yellow. A lot of the brands of acrylic often have different names, but they're the same color. And this is my favorite color that I use in almost all my paintings. It's called yellow ochre. And I learned in technical theater when I was studying theatrical plays and stuff that this is the best color to use to make things look more old, more blended. You can wash it on top of already dried paintings to make it just look a little more uniform. So this is one of my favorite things to use in surreal paintings. And also I have cobalt blue. You can also get ultramarine, but ultramarine has a little bit more purple. It's a little bit more purpley, so cobalt's one of my favorites to use. I also have, this is called hooker's green, but it's basically just, I would say, a lighter forest green. You can get some forest greens that are really dark. This one's more of a lighter one. And then we also have my favorite to do for oceans, sometimes skies, is this green, which is sometimes called turquoise. I think when you add white, it turns to turquoise, but this is the base of it. And I really can't pronounce the type of green that Liquid-X Basic Acrylics calls it, but this is one of my favorite colors too. And of course I have my titanium white and right here, and I also have black, ivory black. When you get into blacks, it's usually between ivory and Mars is a little less gray. So if you want something that will dry a little darker, more true to black, you might want to try Mars. But I like ivory black because it blends well. So I often have to put in white anyway. So those are my colors that I'm using today. I have my clean water. I have a rag to use. And I always start out with a nice big brush. And today, of course, I'm gonna pick a filbert is my favorite. It's nice and rounded and flat, and I feel like you can make a lot more shapes with this and move around the paint a lot better. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna start with a little water on my brush, and then I'll get into the paint. So today I've decided to do one of my basic landscapes that sells really, really well at art and gamer conventions. So I'm going to start out with the green or based turquoise color. And I'm actually going to do the sky with this color. Sometimes I really like to have a little bit more green in the sky. And once you add white, it looks less green. And it looks more like a sky would. So I'm going to add that to the top of my painting. And I'm just kind of gonna smear it down. I want it to be as thin as possible so that I can just pile clouds on top of it. It's been beautiful here in Bridgeland. That's where I live in Houston, Texas. And there's storms that come in that create beautiful cloud formations. And that's one of the things that I really love to paint is clouds, because you can't really go wrong with clouds. They all look weird and funny anyway. So if yours comes out weird and funny, then you have made a perfect cloud. So now that I have a little less than half of my painting filled with that turquoise green, I'm going to add some white. So the white is the titanium white, and I'm going to not clean my brush at all and just stick it right into my white paint, and I'm going to blend it into a cloud shape from bottom to top. Clouds come in different shapes. You can even have the background completely white right there. There's a cloud. So you can't really go wrong. My favorite are the puffy, round clouds that steam out of the sky. I used to really be in love with Galveston when I was little, and the clouds just mesmerized me, especially how they could go forever and ever, and it seemed like it was a whole entire land in itself up there. So I've created my first layer of clouds, and I'm going to leave that to dry. So I'm going to take the uncleaned brush and just use what's left over from the white and turquoise, and I'm going to blend it into the bottom. And I'm not going to think too much, because for me, painting gets out a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions that I don't like. I'm able to get it out now and put it on this canvas and go about the rest of my day. Not really worry too much about it. So for me, this is therapy. So I don't like to think too much about what I'm doing. So I'm not going to think too much. I'm just going to add the land. And so I see that maybe I could have a body of water here. And so I might turn that into something like that, or it may be a valley with lots of little hills on the sides. But right now I'm going to focus on this nice yellow ochre color, and I'm going to blend it in. And I'm going to blend it in, fill up the whole canvas, and so now my whole canvas is full. And maybe that could be a completed painting. But right now I want to paint more. I want to get more of my feelings out. I want to express myself more. So I'm going to express myself in these clouds. I'm going to clean my brush off and take a somewhat clump of clean white paint, and I'm going to hover it over and not really think about the movements that I'm making. And I'm going to make little cloud formations, and I'm going to smooth it out down here. It looks like a mist. It's so nice. I like it. It looks like maybe this is the early morning. We're just starting to wake up, and we have a bright new day ahead of us. That's what that looks like to me. So now I'm going to fill up this empty space up here and create some top layer clouds. And I'm pretty happy with it right now. So again, I'm going to leave it, pile some more paint on. And so we'll create tons of dimension with that process. I'm going to go back down to my other layer, and I'm going to clean my brush completely off. I'm going to go into my my burnt umber. This was a color that I didn't show before, I'm sorry. So I have my burnt umber. This is great if you don't want to use black. Lately, I have not wanted to use black, so I use this burnt umber. I'm going to completely clean off my brush. This type of burnt umber is a little translucent, so this is going to go great over my yellow ochre. So this is going to create dimension in the land. So I think I want some nice rocks. Maybe this is the beach, and there's some nice rocks on the side. So I will go and create little rocks, maybe in the sand by the ocean. Perhaps this is Galveston. And I'll keep blending and blending and blending, and then I'll go over with my yellow ochre again and create more dimension over that. So that we blend. I rarely make colors on my palette. I often just stick it on the canvas, because to me, it's more free to do that. It's not as restrictive. I don't feel like I have to be that anal retentive about my own artwork when I'm in this way. When I do commissions and things that look realistic, something like that, that's a whole different story. I create these paintings just for a release. And I already feel so much better right now. So I've finished what I want for the shadows of my rock formation. And now I'm going to add a little bit of highlights down there, because mainly you need a highlight, a mid-ground, and a dark color. So right now I only have kind of a mid-ground and a little a medium color. So right now I'm going to make a highlight. I'm going to go over my rocks with this yellow, And I'm just gonna go on the tops just to create kind of a glow from the sun. And which way the sun is going, I don't know. And do I care? I also don't care, because this is a surreal picture. It could be from anywhere. It could have 5 suns in it. You know, it's your painting. I don't feel like when you paint in this way, you should have so many rules that you should follow. So I'm not gonna follow any of the art rules right now. I'm just gonna add where I feel like I would have highlights from the sun. And so with that, I feel pretty happy with this. I think I need to add more over this way though. And okay, so that is the start of my beach. So now I've decided that this is indeed a shore, and this can be an ocean. So I'm gonna make kind of I'm gonna create that, carve it out, right? So this is where the ocean begins, this is where the sky begins, and I'm just gonna kind of blend them so that you don't know where it begins or ends. That's a beautiful thing about surrealism too, is that you can add those elements in to make it sort of mysterious. So now that I know that this is an ocean, this is the sand, I might also create a barrier at the bottom, establishing those boundaries as well. So I'm gonna add that in. Yeah, it looks nice, I love it. So I'm just gonna keep all this. People lately, especially at the gaming conventions, really enjoy my dark art. And what I call my dark art is the art that I create when I am upset. And so I often will make little Tim Burton-y scenes, something that just kind of shows how heavy I am, and people love it. I think they see themselves in it. They can relate to the feeling, and that, I think that's a great thing. For a little bit there, I was worried about myself. I didn't think maybe I would paint that way anymore. But this is a little bit of a more darker scene. You know, my sons just went to school. You know, we're going through some changes with family dynamics in my extended family. And so that has been, it's been rough. So I'm gonna make kind of a more melancholy. That's okay. You know, there's a time for all kinds of different art. So yeah, this is my ocean. That's my sky, that's my ground, that's my earth. So now I'm going to add more to the earth down here to let my clouds dry. Give yourself space. I'm gonna create more dimension, more holes in the earth where critters can go in. Maybe there's some seashells that you might want to add in. You can add in anything. My favorite thing to add in, of course, if you're familiar with my work, is boats, because I love Galveston. My brother served in the Navy, and I was always on his boat. Water is a big thing in Arkansas where I was raised, so you know, we were always fishing. There was always someone out on a fishing boat, so I really enjoy boats. So I'm going to add one, and where I add it is also very random. So I want to make sure it's nice and straight silhouette. I'm not going to add any detail to this. I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to add little lines suggesting that there's sails and stuff on the boat. So yeah, there's my little boat. And with my boat comes highlights and shadows. So we will need to add those on as well. I'm gonna add some white and also some of the dark teal that we have. So I'm gonna use a smaller brush. I've used a filbert and this longical, long detailed brush. So I have a filbert. These are all I've used so far. Now I'm gonna switch and use this little filbert that I have. So here's my little filbert, my big filbert. Filbert's my favorite. It's my favorite brush to use. You'll probably see me use it all the time. So I'm gonna use this tiny one. I'm gonna create, out of my turquoise and white, I'm gonna mix it on the canvas, or on the palette, and stick it on my canvas. So there, you can see kind of where the ocean goes. I decided that I needed it to be a little darker, just to really show it on here. And of course, nothing has to be perfect. We are not perfect. Why would our art be perfect? It needs to just look like what we feel it should look like. Should never beat yourself up for putting paint on canvas. It always is going to be beautiful in someone's eyes. Hopefully yours first. So right now I'm adding more white. I'm blending. I'm making it kind of look a little more streamy, more oceany. Highlights and shadows to create lots of dimension. So now with my smaller brush that I'm keeping, probably till the end of this painting, I'm gonna add more clouds. So here we are with more clouds, and I'm gonna make them just really small and round and just random, like they would have in Galveston. As detailed as you want, as undetailed as you want. If you have one little tiny cloud in the sky, or none at all, it looks great. If you're following along with me, whatever your clouds look like, they're great. So I'm gonna not clean my brush. I'm just gonna use this because some of the green will make this look a little bit more uniform. It'll bring the whole picture together. So I'm fine if there's a little green in there. I'm gonna get my white and I'm just gonna go on top of the rocks, wherever I think the sun might shine. And I'm gonna follow where I put the yellow because that would be a little bit under the white color. So you would have the white color, the yellow ochre, the burnt umber mixed into the yellow ochre, and then the burnt umber. So those are the layers that we have down here on the land so far. It has the most layers because it has the most texture, the most dimension, the most traffic, the most happening to it, really. So that makes sense that it would have a lot more color, a lot more depth. So we're adding more, and I just really like it. I think maybe I will stop here. You know what? I want to add birds. So I'm going to clean my brush off, put that away, and go back to my longical, long, thin, detailed brush, and I will go and make some birds because there's lots of seagulls in Galveston, and pelicans and cranes, who knows? So who knows what's going up here, but they're going to just be flying up there. And I'm going to create a few of them just to show that maybe they're together going up. And I really liked that. I really, really like that. So with that, I will go in with highlights on the tops of these rocks to separate the rocks from the land. And I'll blend so that it doesn't look so uniform. And I'll go in with some white. And I accidentally put some burnt umber up here, so I'm just gonna wipe it off with my towel and go over it again with some white. Because you can totally paint over paint. You can use rags on your canvas. It is really just how you get it on there that counts. I'm really happy with this. I really like this painting. I'm gonna go ahead and sign it. I think it's done. I don't know how long that took me, but it didn't take me very long. And I feel so much better now. I feel like, I can think a little clearer. I have a little bit of my angst gone. I need to wait till this dries to sign it. So I'll wait to sign it, but I just want to show you what I made. So this is my boat. I don't know what to call it yet. I might call it a Galveston afternoon, something simple like that. And then it will go and it will be sold probably at NerdCon. So if you don't know what NerdCon is, it is one of the best cons in Houston, Texas. It has so much activities, there's so much to do, there's so many people to interact with, there's celebrities, it's a lot of fun. So I will be selling this at NerdCon November 15th, yes, at 10 a.m. All the details is in my description on this video. We would love to see you. It's free for the kids. Bring your grandma, bring your brother, bring everybody by, and we just look forward to seeing you if you'd like to join us. Thank you so much for joining me for my painting session. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too, and I'll see you next time. Bye!